Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Brass Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Christian. Alongside me is the same host as usual, thankfully,
Espen.
And today we're going to talk about, well, we did a little bit about me, and I have to admit, Espen, even though I love talking about decks that I build and stuff, I think it was time enough for you to finally have your chance to shine and for you to play or talk about your deck. So, as you guys can probably tell by the title of this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about Muldrotha today, which is Espen's cEDH deck. So Espen, just to begin at probably the number one question that we always ask, what is the power level of this deck?
So the power level of Muldrotha, as it is a cEDH deck, it is a solid 9. I wouldn't go any lower. Maybe go a little bit higher. It's not as like vulnerable as most combo decks. It has a lot of ways to protect itself, and even if you lose the combo, you still can go on that like mid-range strategy and try to like grind out through the game if you can't like combo off like right away. And it's just lots of fun. Oh
yeah, this deck is definitely a 9, and you know, unlike Anya, which is my pet deck, this deck definitely. The combo, you know, it can be a little bit fragile, but it's a lot more resilient. And Muldrotha herself, just the game plan that you can switch to, you know, you can grind out those long games, and this deck is definitely really good at that. And the testing that we've done with each other, and you know, we played a 1v1 match, which was the most miserable game we played in our lives, which was Brago Stacks versus Muldrotha, and like, the stacks really don't matter to you that much. I mean, you could just play the long game, and
I can just like grind through it and play through it, and like it's not like super taxing to me. I just have to like it's gonna take me a little bit longer, but like eventually I can outvalue most stacks decks.
Yeah. Like the stacks pieces are annoying, but you know, with Muldrotha and a fetch land, once you get that Muldrotha out, you have a land, so the winter orb becomes a non-factor. The static orb and all the orbs in general, they just become non-factors against you, and I think that speaks to the level of this deck. I think I thought that Brago Stacks was really good. Well, it turns out that just a mid-range cEDH deck can really outvalue it.
Oh, for sure. And if I'm not mistaken, you had a Trinisphere, and what was the other card out you had?
I had a static orb and a Trinisphere out.
Yeah, that was and hey, still able to power through it.
And it hurt me in that game more than it hurt you, as a matter of fact, because you know, I was casting one spell a turn while you kept getting more lands, and you were able to cast multiple. So it just goes to show how strong this deck is against certain strategies. So Espen, what are some basic strategy about this deck, and when would you suggest playing it?
So the basic strategy of the deck is to make sure first off, you got to control your opponents to make sure they don't go off first, but you also have to dig for your combo, because that is the main way you win. And it's just that it's like a mid-range control deck where you control what your opponent's doing, but at the same time you're trying to like set up your combo, trying to dig for it. And it's appropriate to play when you're playing against other cEDH decks. I actually was like, we're gonna see how this does against some casual decks, and yeah, it was a very quick game. Yeah. But needless to say, just always ask about power levels and tell them, hey, this is a cEDH deck, because it can go off. And actually, I was in a three pot, and it was me versus the two of them. I was still able to power through it after they countered and killed all my stuff. It was just brutal to see how Muldrotha can just grind through games, even after being targeted.
Yeah, it really goes to show that, you know, we always like to test our decks against a variety of power levels, and you know, even if the deck has a cEDH in the title or is on the cEDH deck list database, which the deck list will be in the description box below if you're looking to pick up any of the cards or build the deck. But we like to test because, you know, sometimes, I don't want to say always, but sometimes some decks on there, they're good, but they don't look like, well, how could this possibly be a 9? And I definitely had that feeling with Anya when I first built her. It's like, well, this can't be it. Like,
yeah, you have all these like random bad madness cards. Like, you're just like kind of looking at it. It's like, so what is the exact? How do you win?
But you know, when you get that, when you start doing the combo and you start playing the tutors, and real quick to touch on this before we keep going in the episode, it was brought to our attention that we have been playing Tainted Pact incorrectly.
Oh, yes.
And I know we forgot to address this last episode, but last episode wasn't a cEDH episode. So pretty much with Tainted Pact, you don't get to draw your whole deck like we initially thought. And we played with a lot of cEDH players, and no one caught this. And I think it just goes that the wording was a little bit confusing to me and was a little bit confusing to them. And so you exile the cards until you hit one that you want to put into your hand, then the rest remain exiled. So it's a tutor for one card, which we won't be talking about that for this deck, but back to this deck. I just want to address that. This deck definitely, I mean, any deck that can grind out a long cEDH game is impressive in my books, and you know, it can end the game really fast, or it can play a pretty long game, and I think that's what goes to show is how strong this deck is. And
I believe with the perfect start, you can, and the perfect draw, as a matter of fact, you can win turn 3, I believe. Playing Muldrotha turn 2, and then comboing off the next turn. I believe so. I might be wrong though. I'm sure
someone will, well, I'm sure if someone really wants to, they can tell us in the description box after seeing the deck list, because it's never happened with us. We've never. In the games that I've played with you, I've played, you know, we've played more longer games. You know, we tested Anya, and while Anya is really fast, if it's just really who gets the faster start. And,
yeah, for sure.
And like with all cEDH decks, there's a downside, and I think Muldrotha's biggest downside is, you know, with like Anya or like Selvala or decks like that, is you can cast your commander turn 1 most of the time pretty reasonably.
Oh yeah.
Muldrotha, I think it is literally impossible. I mean, maybe with the perfect amount of mana rocks.
Maybe, but I have no idea how.
She is 3 colorless, and you have it right there. She's 3 colorless and Sultai. So like that's
maybe if you have like if all your hand is like a land and like all like another land and like your Mox Diamond and stuff and a Lotus Petal, maybe then.
Yeah, but you know your hand would be very bad. I mean, like you'll maybe Mana Crypt into Soul Ring. You have 3 colorless there. Play your land for a turn, Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox exiling a card. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could cast your turn 1 then or something, but
then
you have no hand. You
just like,
congratulations, you casted a 6/6 turn 1, and that's okay. Maybe you'll just only draw a fire, and you better hope you only draw a fire.
But I mean, hey, you have a 6/6 meter, which everyone forgets that Muldrotha has power and toughness, which I always do.
Prior to recording this episode, Espen was like, well, how does this really go long again? I'm like, you don't remember? Muldrotha, you killed me with Muldrotha multiple games.
I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that just like a 6/6 meter. It's like, I'll just beat you down the face of the 6/6 now.
Yeah, Muldrotha is a really, like, she's reasonably, I mean, for a 6/6 with only upside, she's really reasonably casted, and like, Sultai colors are nothing, and we'll get into like the specifics going forward. And so, Espen, my next question to you is, what do you enjoy about this deck?
I love that there's ramp. I love that there's control. And I love that there's a combo. All my favorite parts in the deck. Like, Sultai has always been my favorite color. And my first EDH deck was Muldrotha. And this is a long time ago when I first started playing casually. This
is when you first started coming down to the local game store before it got sold in Owasso.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like you play this crazy Muldrotha deck, and you had some like weird shadows. You had this weird Shadows of Innistrad enchantment that like we all discarded at the end step or something, and like I don't even remember what it was.
Oh yeah.
You had all these weird cards. I was like, what is this kid doing?
And I had the Phyrexian scriptures from Dominaria. I kept on replaying it over and over. It's just like, oh, Muldrotha's just good with any permanent, I guess. Yeah. But
that was in your discovering days with Commander.
Exactly.
Trying to see what was going on.
Yeah, and probably my most favorite point though is playing with the graveyard. Being able to play something like twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times more over and over again. If that's not value, I don't know what is, especially in a singleton format where it's only a single copy of each card. If you're able to cast that card over and over again, it just feels really good, either in cEDH or even casual play. It just feels really good and powerful.
Yeah, and like it just goes to show the power of the graveyard. I mean, Wizards constantly make so much interaction for it, and without that early game interaction, I mean...
And you mentioned a new graveyard card.
Yeah.
That the Lamia.
Yeah, last episode.
From last episode, yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, I don't think she'll see playing Muldrotha, but I mean, in a casual Muldrotha deck, she's an all-star.
Oh, for sure.
And even more synergy, she makes all those cards in your graveyard cost 1 less.
Oh,
so I don't know.
That feels really good.
I mean, and I don't think she's cEDH worthy, but in like a casual Muldrotha deck, now all of you get to put a permanent in your graveyard, and it costs 1 less. All your permanents, like that feels good.
It feels really good, yeah.
Like, that card is. I really like that card from the last episode, and I really like it even more now that we're like talking about it, just because the potential of it is so strong.
Yeah.
And so, before we move on to the body of this episode, guys, I just want to encourage you guys to like, share, subscribe, and comment. It really means a lot to us, and you know we have a lot of content planned. You know we're gonna try to keep the cEDH content up, and we also want your opinion. Would you guys be interested in us doing like episodes about anime? That's something that we're also equally as passionate about. We spend a lot of time watching it, and if you guys would like to watch, like, you know, a 40-minute episode about anime where we analyze or give our suggestions, just let us know in the comments or message us or email us at brassgaming@brassgaming.com.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Espen, so tell us about Muldrotha. Just give us the rundown. What is Muldrotha all about?
Muldrotha the Gravetide for 3 generic mana and black, green, blue Sultai. It's a legendary creature. It's an elemental avatar. Already super sweet off the bat. And then she reads, during each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. And if a card has multiple permanent types, choose 1 as you play it, which is powerful in itself. And it is a 6/6. And that is just super cool. So you can play like a artifact and a artifact creature from your graveyard. You get to replay those fetch lands. You get to replay powerful enchantments, powerful artifacts. It's just super cool, and already like off the bat, 6 mana 6/6 is just like, oh sweet, I have this beater now, which is just super strong. And I really like enjoy like her art and her flavor text, and she's just super cool. And I feel like, in my opinion, Muldrotha is the best commander. I'm gonna say it here, best commander for at least casual play. Because you can put any like real permanents like ETBs or like that's really good when it hits the battlefield. You just put a bunch of ETB effect permanents in there, and she's already just like really good and lots of value.
She's probably, I mean, outside of like Brago and like Blink deck, she's probably one of the best commanders for just generating value.
I know.
I mean, like just the ability to replay your permanents, and like you could even put stuff like the Ashnod's Altar, like sack outlets in there, and start sacking some of your creatures or something, generate mana, then I don't know, recast something big or use that mana to cast other value stuff. I mean, probably the best value commander in general.
Yeah, it's just super cool. And it's in Sultai. You got your counter spells, you got black for your kill spells, and you got green for your ramp. And it's just like, it just always feels good playing this card. Like, I can't emphasize more that, like, I'm so happy that there's a cEDH deck for her. I'm like, oh, it's super cool.
Ironically enough, both of the Sultai commanders you play, they're cEDH worthy in Muldrotha and Tasigur. Although you went more of the, while people kind of rage at your Tasigur deck, I think if you built the cEDH Tasigur control deck, people would hate you even more.
Oh, probably.
Because that deck's insane.
Yeah, that deck is insane.
So going on, Espen, what is the combo? You know, in the Cavernous episode, we kind of teased them about the combo, and I feel like people really didn't like that. So what let's get it out of the way. What is the combo?
So this combo is a infinite mana combo. One of my favorite combos. And you need either Animate Dead or Necromancy, Phantasmal Image or Dance of Many, and Lion's Eye Diamond. Animate Dead, you return, or any creature with either player's graveyard come into play on your side with -1 to its original power. If this enchantment is removed, or at the end of the game, target creature is returned to its owner's graveyard. Target creature may be killed as normal. And that's old text because I have the old copy here. But essentially, you just reanimate something and you bring a creature back. Necromancy does the same thing, and you cast it at instant speed 2. But you have to bury the creature at the end of the turn. There's Phantasmal Image, which for 1 and a blue, you may have Phantasmal Image enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an illusion in addition to its other types, and it gains when this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. And Dance of Many. When Dance of Many is brought into play, choose a target summon card creature in play, then put a token creature in play and treat it as if you have just brought an exact copy of target summon card into play. If Dance of Many leaves the battlefield, remove the token from battlefield. If the token leaves, you remove Dance of Many. And if you do not pay 2 blue during your upkeep, Dance of Many is destroyed. But generally, when you're going to combo, that last part's not important.
Mm.
And finally, Lion's Eye Diamond, or LED.
Yep. It's
abbreviated term. It's a 0 mana artifact, and it says, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, discard your hand. That sucks. But you also get to add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. So it's essentially a Black Lotus, except you have to discard your hand. Yeah. That's the only downside. But with Muldrotha, it's great. So you might be asking, okay, these are the cards. How do you do the combo? Well, in order to get infinite mana, first you need Muldrotha out. So you cast either Phantasmal Image or Dance of Many. So I'll cast Phantasmal Image targeting Muldrotha. Okay, I have 2 Muldrothas. And then I have to sacrifice, due to the legendary rule, I have to sacrifice one of them. I'll sacrifice the Muldrotha that has already seen the Lion's Eye Diamond first. So I sacrifice the original Muldrotha. Then I recast the Lion's Eye Diamond and sack it for, say, 3 black. And then I cast Animate Dead and reanimate Muldrotha. Legendary rule, sacrifice Phantasmal Image. Now I have 1 black floating. And then I play Lion's Eye Diamond again, because this Muldrotha has not seen a artifact played yet, since it's been in play now from Animate Dead. So I can sacrifice this one for 3 blue and cast Phantasmal Image. Again, legendary rule, sacrifice Muldrotha, Animate Dead goes to the graveyard. And now I have a blue and a black floating. And you keep on repeating this process. You can do this with either Necromancy or Dance of Many too. And it's just like this very, just this really awesome way to generate mana, and it's lots of fun. And Lion's Eye Diamond is actually a great synergy for the deck because you discard your hand, which Muldrotha you play from your graveyard. So why not discard your hand and then generate mana to go infinite, and then recast all those cards again. It's a really fun combo, and it's really cool to see.
So we have all this mana. What are we gonna do with it?
Oh yeah.
So you've made Muldrotha, brought her out a billion times, and you've sacked the LED a bunch of times. So you have all this mana in your mana pool. What are you gonna do with it? Well, the first one's pretty obvious, and that's you're gonna make a big Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista reads XX. Walking Ballista enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. Pay 4, put a +++ counter on Walking Ballista. Then you may remove a 1/1 counter from Walking Ballista to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Simple enough. Yeah, you have 5 billion mana, and I've went over this in the past. You have to make billions. You don't want to do exactsies. So you play, or we'll say 6 billion. So you pay that 6 billion mana into Walking Ballista. Now you have 3 billion on Walking Ballista, and then you ping them down 1 by 1. And this one you probably don't need exactsies, but I think it's just funny to have a 3 billion Walking Ballista. That's pretty.
Just a billion damage to each player.
Yeah. I'll respond to every counter by removing another counter to do a billion to you. But besides the point, big Walking Ballista, pretty obvious, very very good and very consistent win. This next one's my favorite, and when looking at these cards alone, like one of them is very good, one of them's kind of unassumingly good. So in the loop that you're making, you eventually have to start making some green mana.
Yes.
In order to do this part of the combo. But this part of the combo is Eternal Witness and a Winds of Rebuke. So Eternal Witness is a green and 1 for a 2/1 human shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Simple enough. So what are you going to return? Well, you're discarding your hand over and over again to Lion's Eye Diamond, so this is probably in your graveyard too. This is Winds of Rebuke. It's 1 colorless and a blue for an instant. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, each player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So, how does this work? Well, you're going to, at first, you're going to cast the Eternal Witness from your graveyard, because it's probably there because of LED. Eternal Witness enters. You're going to target the Winds of Rebuke to return to your hand. You're going to pay the 2, you're going to cast Winds of Rebuke, you're going to return Eternal Witness to your hand, and then each player mills 2. Oh, well, that's pretty nice. Well, it's pretty nice, then you cast Eternal Witness again, target Winds of Rebuke, bring Winds of Rebuke back to your hand, and do it over and over and over and over again. So now everyone's library is in their graveyard. You're going to pass, they're not going to draw, they're going to lose. Next person's turn, they're going to lose. Next person's turn, they're going to lose. And you're the last one standing. Pretty simple enough, and it's pretty sweet. I mean, that a cEDH deck has such a weird kind of card, and that's what I like about cEDH is they use such unique kind of cards to go off.
It's really cool, and also not only does it mill your opponents, it mills yourself too.
Yeah.
In case like you need to find something, you can just do that over and over again, and then eventually get some more cards that you can play with as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have the infinite mana. If you really wanted to mess with them, you could put them all at one card, then cast a huge board in. I guess you could be funny, but the name of the game in cEDH is winning as quick as possible, so you're probably going to win and not do the funny play.
This is fair.
So, this next session, we've talked about Espen liking these type of cards before, and these are the oppressive type cards that slow down the game, or they have an impact on the game, which hurts your opponent's board state, or sometimes hurts yours in the case of one of these cards. So Espen, what are some of the oppressive pieces in this deck?
So 3 of the oppressive pieces of this deck that I picked out that I want to talk about is Karn the Great Creator, Pernicious Deed, and Tzer's Weirding. Now, Karn the Great Creator is from War of the Spark. It's for 4 colorless mana for a legendary planeswalker. And he has a passive ability, as all the War of the Spark planeswalkers did, that reads, activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. Right there. It's a null rod, but it's not even symmetrical, so it doesn't even hurt any of your fast mana, which is just so incredibly good, especially in cEDH, when everyone's playing those fast mana rocks. And he has 2 abilities. His +1 is, until your next turn, up to 1 target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness each equal to its converted mana cost. So right there, you can kill off someone's mana rocks. You can just oh, that's a nice mana crypt you got. Afraid if it died, and then you just +1 and kill it. And then the most important part, in my opinion, for Karn is his -2 ability, which reads, you may choose an artifact card you own from outside the game or an exile. Reveal that card and put it into your hand. So say someone tries to exile your LED in the game. You're like, oh, that sucks. And then you get this one. And you're like, oh, I'm going to grab it back, which has happened in exactly 1 game for me. And it felt really good to be like, Karn, grab LED. My opponent was like, oh, yeah, you got it.
And you want to stress about this ability in cEDH, in EDH in general, there is no sideboards. And so when stuff refers to outside of the game, typically that refers to a sideboard. So if you're going to play something like this with a sideboard in Casual Commander, because there's no way your cEDH players are going to let you use a sideboard.
Oh, no.
And Casual Commander, make sure you run it past your play group and say, hey, is it okay if I have a sideboard? Because Karn really, it's really, really powerful. And word of advice, I don't suggest allow anyone to have a sideboard for Karn, because the Karn toolboxes in Modern, and you played a mono green control deck.
Yes, I did.
Your tool pieces were your toolbox was insane in that deck, and Commander, you have every artifact from Magic's history.
Yeah.
So
Just makes it even more broken.
It makes it even more broken. So just talk with your play groups, and if they, for whatever reason, allow you to have a sideboard, then, well, I guess you probably just have the best artifacts that you don't want in your deck.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have to gum up or take up spots.
Yeah. And Karn also enters on 5.
Oh yeah, and he enters on 5. Yeah, that is true. And moving on to Pernicious Deed is 1 black-green for an enchantment. Pay X, sacrifice Pernicious Deed, destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with converted mana cost X or less. So, since it's a permanent, you have a consistent board wipe that you can just play over and over again. And exactly for those fast mana rocks, it's like, yeah, I'm going to pay 0 for this. Destroy all 0 mana artifact, creatures, and enchantments. It's just really good and also really fun because I've had casual people or casual Muldrotha players play this, and it's already powerful. And in cEDH, it's just as powerful.
It's a better engineered explosives. What can I say? Really, really good.
And then the last card, which is my favorite, is Tzer's Weirding. It costs 3 and a blue for an enchantment. All players play with the cards in their hands face up on the table whenever, they play the cards, so you get to play with your hand face up. Whenever any player draws a card, any other player may pay 2 life to force the drawing player to discard that card. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this life loss. Wow. So literally, I have done this before, but I played on turn 2, no one drew another card.
Yeah.
No one drew another card. Everyone was paying life, just getting rid of everyone's cards' hands. And I had all the tutors and stuff in my hand, but I could just like get it to my hand and then just win from there. And it feels really good and super oppressive, especially for those combo decks that are like drawing like, oh, can I draw this combo piece? Like, no, I'll pay 2 life. You can't combo off. And it's just a big feel bad. But before the Muldrotha player who also plays with the graveyard, feels amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like this is kind of the fool's trap sometimes where people kind of get a little too... They don't realize how Muldrotha takes advantage of the graveyard. So at the cost of not letting it in your hand, they put it in your graveyard, and it's like, oh, well, okay. Go ahead and put that combo piece in the graveyard. I'm just going to cast it anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the card does not hurt you whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it's actually even better if they pay 2 life to put something in your graveyard, because odds are you probably want it there in the first place.
Yeah, because then it's there, and they lost 2 life.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I'll play it again. You paid 2 life for nothing. That's fine.
Yeah, it's that card is shockingly good, and in the games I played with it, I've never played in our games of playing Muldrotha, you didn't play it against me.
Yeah,
but I know from playing it against it like a casual commander it's most of the time people just kind of get once you pay for me, well now they're always going to pay for them, and they kind of get, it's kind of a feel bad for people. It's you know, well, why'd you pay for me when I wasn't doing anything to you that whole game? And it becomes a big political thing, and
then it like stagnates the game because no one's drawing new cards unless you're playing through graveyard.
It's definitely a very, very oppressive card, and it creates a lot of turmoil in the groups if players don't agree to just leave each other alone. And most of the time players won't, because they see a threatening card and they just, at the cost of stopping other players, they pay the life, and well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, we cover this, of course, in every EDH deck, but what are some of the mana rocks that Muldrotha uses? So
Muldrotha, as every cEDH deck, is using pretty much all the typical fast mana rocks. You're not deviating or running anything too unusually weird. So we'll just name a few of them that are particularly important, and, you know, this will probably be redundant in all of our cEDH videos because these are usually the most important mana rocks. So starting off, we have Mana Crypt. So it's a 0 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Mana Crypt deals 3 damage to you. And the upside of this is you can tap to add 2 colorless to your mana pool. Just a good card. 0 mana for 2 is so good. And I think we talked about in the past about a game I played in which Mana Crypt deal a bunch of damage to me. I think Muldrotha, if you can't get the fast win, is one of those decks where you have to like make sure you're watching out for your Mana Crypt, because you could very easily play the long mid-range game and you could maybe get got. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But I think this deck is good enough to power through it. But I just think it's one of those things where sometimes we forget that Mana Crypt does have that unfortunate downside. So going on, we have another one of my favorite ones, and I recently got into a funny position the other day when we went to play some EDH down here where we live, and I had this mana rock in my hand and a certain Gaia's Cradle, and well, I was in turmoil, but of course I didn't discard the Gaia's Cradle to it, and this card is Mox Diamond. So it's a 0 mana artifact. When it comes into play, choose and discard a land card or sacrifice Mox Diamond. And with all the newer Moxen from this time forward, you can add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Just good. I mean, losing a land for this is so good, and
especially in Muldrotha, you can replay that land later.
Oh, yeah. You discard a land. Oh well, that's cute. I'm just going to put it right back on the battlefield. Well, there is no downside. The downside of this card is non-existent in Muldrotha, which is why we wanted to highlight it I now have this broken start, and I'll take that land back.
Yeah.
So it's like,
okay,
you could just be funny and discard the Gaia's Cradle and just replay it because why not? Because you're playing Muldrotha. And the final mana rock card we want to talk about is Lotus Petal. So this is another 0 mana artifact. You sacrifice Lotus Petal and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Again, with Muldrotha. This is another card that just helps you get infinite mana in that loop. Like, just in case you can't afford to add the green for whatever reason from Lion's Eye Diamond. Well, now you bring back a Lotus Petal. You can bring back a Lotus Petal in some of the transitions if you have a lot of extra mana, I guess. I don't know. I've never played the deck, but I mean, it's good.
It's really good. Yeah.
In Muldrotha, seeing 0 mana stuff is like, oh, well, that's just something I'm just going to get back because why not?
Exactly.
So, you know, not much to talk about with the mana rocks. Pretty simple, and, you know, it's your basic cEDH mana rock deck. So, Espen, this is probably another one of your sections, and surprisingly, you gave me one of the sections I thought you wanted to do too. But this is the interaction. So, what are some of the interaction we have with this deck?
So, the first interaction piece that I'd like to point out for the deck is Abrupt Decay. For a black and a green instant, Abrupt Decay can't be countered by spells or abilities. Amazing. Can't be countered. And then you destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. So you can destroy anyone's like combo pieces, because generally in cEDH, most combo pieces are 3 mana or less. So just like an instant speed, I'm just gonna stop you there if they can't like continue going off at instant speed. The next card that I'd like to cover for interaction is Nihil Spellbomb. Though it's not like an instant or sorcery, it is a 1 mana artifact. Tap, sacrifice it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. And when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay a black. If you do, draw a card. So it's another form of card draw that Muldrotha can play if you can't find your combo pieces. You can just crack it, play it again, crack it, and draw cards. And also, for like your World Gorger deck, playing this turn 1 is actually devastating for you, if I'm not mistaken, because losing that World Gorger dragon is just really, really hurts. And then the last piece of interaction I want to point out is Seal of Primordium, which is a 1 and a green enchantment. Sacrifice Seal of Primordium, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And again, for those early games when they're trying to combo off with like the artifacts or enchantments, you have Seal to just like stop them at instant speed, and you don't have to like leave mana open. You can just like play this like turn 1 or 2 and just like leave out there like, I'm just gonna leave that out there.
I think this is actually even better than the early game stuff. I think this is how you beat me in the stacks games many times. Is you just have the Seal and you're just able to keep casting it and just interrupting my stacks pieces. And as soon as you resolve it, unless I have an early Pithing Needle naming it, it's just like, well, I've lost a stacks piece and I've maybe lost 2 because you're going to cast it, sacrifice it, maybe cast it again and sacrifice it again, you know, just good. So this next section, we titled Protection. So pretty simple. These are just some of the basic spells of how you protect yourself and you protect the combo. So first we have Force of Will. This is 3 colorless and a blue to counter target spell. Okay, that's bad. No, I made that joke already. I can't do it again. I can't do that joke again. But we all know what this does. You may pay a life, remove a blue card from your hand to cast it without paying its card mana cost. Just good. Free counter spell, and
I mean, it costs a card and a life, but
yeah,
it's still really good.
It's still free. I mean, that's negligent in cEDH.
Especially if you're trying to protect that combo.
This, like speed. The card loss and the life loss does not matter in cEDH because you're generating so much value, especially with Muldrotha, that it's like, okay, I lose 1 card, well, I have a billion more in my graveyard that I can use.
Right.
So, second is Mana Drain, which is 2 blue for an instant. Counter target spell. At the beginning of your next main phase, add X to your mana pool, where X is the casting cost of the spell. Again, you're going to counter... It's just a way... In cEDH, unless they're doing something like super broken, you're probably not countering something really big unless they're playing like a big mana deck, like, you know, doing like a big X spell or something. But more than likely, you're going to counter their combo piece. You're going to get a couple mana and a couple more mana for you to use on your main phase. And, you know, that could be game changing for getting your combo online and stuff. So,
for sure.
And this next card is Veil of Summer, which quite the all-star from M20. Like, very, very good. So, Veil of Summer is a 1 green for an instant. Draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and black till end of turn. Very, very simple. Like, blue or black spells now do nothing to you. They can't counter your stuff. They're not countering the spell you're casting this against. And like, oh, nice Fatal Push doesn't do nothing. Nice whatever kill spell. Nice murder. Nothing. I mean, Veil of Summer is just one of those all-stars that protects you and protects your pieces against all the basic hate that people are going to throw at you.
Yeah.
So, this next section is probably my favorite thing to do in Commander and Magic in general, and we call this Tutors. So, Espen, what are some of the important Tutors in this deck?
So, the first tutor I'd like to highlight is Intuition. For 2 and a blue, it is an instant. Search your library for any 3 cards and reveal them to target opponent. He or she chooses one of those cards. You put that card into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Shuffle your library. So, that sounds really bad. You get 3 cards, but they put one in your graveyard. But because it's Muldrotha, you use your graveyard. So it's essentially tutor for 3 cards with 3 mana at instant speed, which is super powerful. And while Muldrotha is out, the 3 that you should find is Phantasmal Image, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Anime Dead. Essentially, your combo.
Yeah.
And without Muldrotha out, you want to get cEDH, Anime Dead, and a copy spell as well, just in case, so you can try to tutor back whatever you don't get. The next tutor I'd like to point out is Trinket Mage, which is 2 and a blue for a creature, human, wizard. It is a 2/2. When Trinket Mage comes into play, you may search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Reveal that card and put it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. So, essentially, 3 mana to get your Mox Diamond if you have your other combo pieces, and then just start comboing off from there, which is really powerful. And then finally, you have Vampiric Tutor. Probably the best tutor, because it costs 1 black, it's instant, you pay 2 life, search your library for any 1 card, shuffle your library, and then put that card on top. So, all really powerful cards. Probably Intuition is the best tutor in the deck, since it puts 3 cards, 2 of them into your graveyard, 1 into your hand, which essentially for Muldrotha, since you technically can count your graveyard for your hand, you tutor for 3 cards. It's really powerful and really fun.
So yeah, we're running a little low on time right now, so we're going to go ahead and power through these next couple ones. So this next section has been titled Random Good Cards, and you'll see why they're random good. So first starting off, we have Ashiok Dreamrender. She is the Planeswalker from War of the Spark. She costs 1 hybrid blue-black, hybrid blue-black. She says, spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search your library. So, no more fetch lands, no more tutors. It was fun while it lasted. And then she enters on 5, and she has a neg-1. Target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard, then exile each opponent's graveyard. Again, you're going to target one opponent that you think is your biggest threat, maybe get lucky and hit their World Gorger Dragon for the Anya, or hit some important piece, and there goes everyone's graveyard.
Or you can also target yourself and dig more cards.
Target yourself and dig 4 more cards and exile everyone's graveyard. So good, and Ashiok is just a good card for this deck. So this next card we have is a split card from, looks like, Apocalypse. It's Life, Death. So the life part of this card, 1 green mana. Until end of turn, all lands you control are 1/1 creatures that are still lands. Why this is good is because you make all your lands 1/1s, and we're going to get to this in the next section. Gaia's Cradle's in this deck. You're going to tap. Now you have a bunch of mana for Gaia's Cradle. Just good. And then the death part of this card, 1 colorless, 1 black. Return target creature card from your graveyard to play. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. Again, just another way to power out a creature. You know, you're maybe Ashiok something that you want. You're going to pay the life and bring it out. You know, who knows what you'll do with it. So good. And then one of my favorite cards in Magic in general right here is Survival of the Fittest. This is an enchantment for 1 colorless, 1 green. It's for a green. Choose and discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal that card and put it into your hand. And then you shuffle your library afterwards. again, this just helps you get your combo pieces. You're going to resolve this probably turn 1 if you have nothing else to do. You're going to discard whatever creature that you have, and you're going to go search for a combo creature, probably. I don't know what else you're going to search. I mean, if you're trying to power out the combo, you search for that Phantasmal image, or maybe you have the image, you need the Eternal Witness for that part of the combo. You discard a creature, search for the Eternal Witness. So, to end off here today on the deck, we have 3 important lands that we wanted to highlight. And so, Espen, what are these 3 lands?
The first land is Cavernous Souls. It is just a land. As Cavernous Souls enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Namely, you'll name Elemental or Avatar, since that is what Muldrotha is. You can tap it for colorless, or you can tap it for any mana, for any colored mana. And if you spend this mana to cast that creature spell, it can't be countered, which is really good to have an uncounterable Muldrotha, because when people see you cast a Muldrotha, they're going to try to counter it. They have the counter spell. Command Beacon is the next one, because this is a blowout sometimes. So it's just a land that taps for 1 colorless mana, but tap, sacrifice it, put your commander into your hand from your command zone. Now imagine never having to pay for commander text ever again, because you crack this, you bring Muldrotha back to your hand, cast it with like Cavernous Souls because it can't be countered, and then you just play Command Beacon again. You can do that over and over again as many times as Muldrotha gets killed. You never had to pay mana cost or the commander text, which is super powerful and super busted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last card that Christian mentioned earlier with life is Gaia's Cradle. It's a legendary land. Tap and add green to your mana pool for each creature you control. Which, say you have like 10 lands out, and you life for 1 and tap it. That's 10 mana.
Yeah.
For 2. Super powerful, super strong, and I've actually done this before where I was actually like kind of behind the game. I needed to cast more spells and get back into it, and it just felt really good to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tap my Gaia's Cradle. I'm gonna get like 20 some mana. Yeah. Because I also had all my mana dorks, so it felt really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Gaia's Cradle is like $250+.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably one of the best lands ever printed Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
So, I think we're going to segue to the outro of the episode now. And, Espen, I have one question for you, and I'm sure many people have a question for you about this. Why should we play Muldrotha?
Graveyard.
Yeah?
Graveyard, value, best colors in Magic. You got Sultide, the counter, the ramp, the kill spells. And you, as I said before, play the Graveyard. It's a 6/6. Like, it's a big body that you can just swing and beat people down. And also, Elemental Avatar. That just sounds super cool as a creature type. And just Muldrotha the Great type. Just a super cool name. You just feel, at least when I cast a card, I feel super powerful, like in charge when I play it. It's such a great card and such a fun deck.
Yeah, I think it's important if you get even like mid-range strategies and you like playing combo. I mean, this is the deck for you. Overall, just a very, very strong deck. It's, you know, I think I would say this. I think it's a little less consistent with the combo than like Anya would be, for example, or some of the Storm decks, because you know you have the tutors, but sometimes, you know, and I guess it can happen in any deck, but Anya is more of a draws you further, and some decks kind of storm for a little bit deeper. Or Muldrotha, she's kind of playing a value game plan. And without like the perfect tutors, you know, you can find yourself maybe not doing the combo all the time, but that's fine. And we highlighted this before, even against like the Stacks deck, you don't need the combo to win. You're just gonna outvalue them. And like the whole goal of Stacks is to stop you from getting value. Well, Muldrotha just says, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna yeah, you're making all my spells cost a couple more. Well, I'm gonna keep playing lands. Oh, only 2 lands gonna tap. Well, that's okay, because I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna play a land for my graveyard. And like you said before, I had Trinisphere out in one of those games, and you had so much mana that, like, yes, it was annoying, but it didn't matter. I mean, Trinisphere probably stops you can't combo win.
No, you can't combo. Yeah.
You can't combo win, and I stopped your combo win, but it didn't matter because at the end of the day, you had a big 6/6 that was generating you all this value, and once you were able to wipe my board of creatures, it was just beat down city.
Oh yeah, Muldrotha really got in there. Like, I felt really good. Like, I'm gonna attack you for 6 with my Muldrotha, which is already a good card.
And we got into the point where I played a Swords to Plowshares to get rid of Muldrotha, and I'm like, okay, I got a turn. And then you played Commander's Tower or whatever, or Commander's Beacon.
Yeah, Commander's Beacon.
And you cracked it, and it's like, oh well, that was a waste. Because now I mean, sure, it costs 1 more, but it doesn't cost 3 more like it would have with the Commander tax.
But also, it cost you 4 to cast that.
Yeah, it did.
Because you had the Static Orb too.
Yeah, and it costs you nothing to play a land and crack it to get Muldrotha. So, like, you know, I think this deck has a very favorable matchup against stacks for sure. I think it has a little bit of, like, we tested the Anya, and I think I won more of the Anya games just because Anya's a little bit fast. Yeah. But I just think it's a mid-range deck.
Yeah, so it's definitely a mid-range deck.
It's good against the stacks. It's good against a lot of decks. But, you know, you might find yourself struggling against the faster decks. But this should not take away. This deck is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly fun. And sometimes what I like to do when I play Commanders, I just like to kind of observe. And I'm a people person. I like to watch kind of people, how they react.
Yeah.
And whenever I watch Espen just cast Muldrotha, the smile on his face it's worth it. It's like, even though I'm in danger, I just seeing the smile on Espen's face when he grabs it Muldrotha from the command zone, puts it in the battlefield. It's like, oh well, I'm in danger, but Espen's happy, so I guess I can't be mad. So
that is, I feel like one of the best part of Commander is whatever card that you just like resonate with, you can build virtually a Commander deck for any legendary creature. Just build around it, and it's just so much fun. And like, hey, if you play a card, I might not like it, but if you like it, play it.
Yeah.
Because Magic is all about having fun and trying new ideas and building new things, and it's just really cool and really fun.
Yeah, and so again, we just want to mention to you guys, the deck list is going to be in the description box below. So if you want to join Espen on the Muldrotha mid-range bandwagon, go ahead and pick up some of the cards and build the deck. And
it's a blast.
It's a blast, yeah. It takes the cake, as
it does take the cake.
So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move to our favorite part of these episodes. I mean, we love every part of these episodes, but the part that we anxiously bite our nails for till the end, and that's our anime suggestion of the week. And so we tossed around a few anime. There was one I really wanted to talk about, but you haven't seen the full episodes yet. But
yeah, I got caught up.
Yeah, got a little busy, and that's okay. But so our anime suggestion of the week for this week is, if it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord. So
that's a long name.
Very long name, and it's not really what you think it'd be about.
No, not at all.
Because kind of when you think of that, you think of like a lot of action and like he's fighting demons.
Yeah, a lot of fighting, a lot of battles, magic maybe.
Yeah. Even. And sure, there's a little bit of fighting and there's some magic, but the anime's not centered around that.
No, not at all.
So pretty much the premise of this anime follows this guy named Dale, who he's like a hunter, and he kills magical beasts for this city and for a kingdom. And while hunting one day, he comes across this little demon girl, and the demon girl's name is Latina, and she's, you know, all disheveled, and she's really, you know, not in the best shape, and her father she was with, you know, may or may not be dead, but that's in episode 1, so I'm not spoiling much. But, so he pretty much takes her in, and the whole anime kind of revolves around Dale spoiling Latina and doing things for her.
It's so adorable and so fun to like see like how much happiness they like bring each other, because like I feel like Dale's like missing that like part of his life, and you could really like see like how he changes throughout like you see him at the beginning in this rough like adventure, and now he's like this like heartwarming like father figure, and just so cute. And I really think, like, instead of, like, a action anime, as you were saying, I think it's more of, like, a slice of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just so fun and so wholesome.
Yeah, very, very good. Latina is absolutely adorable, and, you know, it's one of those animes that if you're looking for something cute to watch for about 11 or 12 episodes, I mean, you put it on and you're going to have a good time. And, you know, there's a little bit of action, you know, a little bit, but it's mainly telling the story about Dale and Latina and their little adventures and how much he cares for her. And we'll just say this. you guys will be shook by the school, as Espen was. And I will not say anything further.
Favorite part, but things get tense. I will say that.
There is one part where things get really tense, and
you'll see why.
You'll see why. It's really heart-wrenching, but then it's really wholesome, like what the payoff is, and this anime is just perfect, and I think it's a good entry to slice of life anime as well. If you're looking for that new slice of life or want to get into the genre, I think this anime is perfect because it gives you a little bit of action, but it tells a little a really good story. And a couple characters that I also think are important are this couple named Rita and Kenneth, and they own this tavern that Dale rents his room at, and they play a part where they help raise Latina a little bit. And I won't spoil anything, but Kenneth has a big part of her life, and Latina is very willing to learn, and she wants to best help Dale, and because she really, you could tell the love is very pure between them, and it's very, he took her in, this is her father now, and she really, really cares for him, really loves him, and he is you'll see in the anime, whenever he has to go away, he is torn because he doesn't want to leave her.
I don't know who gets more upset that he's leaving Dale or Latina.
And when you watch the anime, and when you get towards the end and you start seeing some of the episodes, this anime is going one way, and I hope it doesn't go that way. My poor little heart can't.
Don't say it, no.
My poor little heart can't handle that. But this anime is, I would say it's a solid, it's a solid anime. Really good. It's really short, and it's got I think the light novel's still going.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure because, I don't really have much time to really read manga and stuff as I used to, but
with school and whatnot, and gaming,
it's phenomenal. And if you ever find the time, put on a couple episodes and binge watch it. Really, really good, really wholesome. Latina and Dale's dynamic alone make this anime worth watching. And so, you have any final thoughts about the anime, or? I
think you covered it all. It's just I remember it was you or Mike recommended it to me.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not really my sort of thing, but I'll try it. And then I just fell in love after the second episode. It's just so adorable and just love it. It's great.
Yeah. This anime is everything you want in a slice of life anime. So I think we've gushed enough. We always gush, especially in these sections of the episode, but just goes to show how much we really like all this stuff, magic, anime, just in general.
It's all great.
So, for the Brass Gaming Podcast, I'm Christian.
And I'm Espen.
And we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.